I'm a poet. I use my words as an extension of my pretension, and I'll put on my spoken word voice to let you know that I'm a poet. I cuff my jeans with my ink-stained fingers, tasting my dreams I find still linger on the tip of my tongue like my coke and my rum, and for those who don't know it, my smoke, I'll blow it in your faces, traces of my rhyming, timing, silver tongue lying, stinging your eyes, but I won't apologize, cause I'm writing, fighting, self-apologizing, the beat of my heart goes in time with the start of my poem, slowing, where is this going, I'm a poet and I know it, do you know it, I suppose it doesn't matter how you act if you're camera-free cracked. Ink and pen in hand on a page, sitting days on it first cause I'm a poet. Because we're poets. Using voices, making choices, and the truth is we're pretentious. I accept this because we're poets. And we are nothing if not self-aware.
COVID 19, keeping life inside, highly like nothing before. Locking us in the doors has stopped the polluting the shores, that's for sure. This is it, money with new grips to new wits, but what Irish, that's why we'll fly by this. Water stay blue as the sky is. Could it be true that we are the virus? Human race choose to paint where we taint in this place, but no spirits to erase the ease. And what we paint's a disgrace, can't you see? Colors dilute the natural form. Now a catastrophe's been born. People hogging bog roll, fighting in the stores. I can no longer endure their selfishness and how your power's based on your wealthiness. And if you got money, then you get a weightless chest. While the poor hold down the doors, the rich kick up the storms. Yeah, the lords playing this art like it's a chessboard. I couldn't invent more, and I couldn't spend more time making rhymes on how times haven't changed. It's always been this way. Even though the poor outweigh in the masses, the rich still fill up their glasses. Fuck those bastards. Yeah, fuck those bastards. Cause they won't be round when their choices burn this place to the ground. Who wears the crown? Who wears the crown? Well, nobody now. Nobody's round. Everyone's drowned by the rising seas. Puncture lungs by virus in the seas with no air left to breathe. With the loss of every chopped tree from the scoffing industries, fueling life's luxuries for our misery, sold to you and controlled by that 1%, the elite and the banker men, to no end. So listen in, if you wanna get by in this life we're stuck in, then just think about the ones you love most, cause that's just how it goes. When you're just a working class folk, it's a shame but the rights have been revoked. Just don't let it get you choked. FP.
So the piece that I'm performing today is called Identity. I hope you guys like it. It has a huge part of my heart. It's one of the first poems that I ever wrote that was intended for performance. So it's really old, but I think it's, to this day, it's still kind of like one of my favorites because it really just encapsulates kind of what life was like for me as a mixed race woman in this country. So without further ado, here we go. I do not know what it means to be black. My version of black culture is cultivated by MTV and news reports. It's big booty bitches, blunts and Bugattis. It's black men dying in streets, oppression piercing their skulls. A white lobotomy teaching the ways of correct behavior. It's growing up without a dad, being part of the 51.2% of black kids in the 90s who were fatherless. A white mom tearing a comb through my hair because nobody taught her how to braid. It's 10 years of flat irons and chemicals because nobody was there to tell a little girl, your hair is as old as humanity itself. Each strand tells the stories of your ancestors. Each car represents black history and the ongoing fight to keep growing, no matter how small the progress may seem. It's jollof rice and spiced fish at your best friend's house because mama don't know how to cook it, and it's asking why the kids call you monkey and why you don't look like them. It's screaming at a mother who did nothing but lay her life down for you. Why don't I look like the other kids at school? Mom, why do I look like this? Mom, why does the sun turn my skin so brown? Mom, Who am I? It's asking why your dad is like air. You know he's real. He is the reason life runs in your veins, but you've never seen him. It's a mysterious birthday card on a dreary day, pleading your return. Hushed tones and whispered confessions behind glass doors reveal more secrets than shack of brown bodies jumping overboard. I am told my culture is watermelon Kool-Aid and chicken fried in Crisco. History books say it's barbaric traditions and voodoo-infused medicine. America tells me it's uneducated men and women with empty thoughts and even emptier lives. Their pockets were money almost as dirty as the colour of their skin. Crack pipes handed down like family heirlooms. I am destined for failure. Not white enough for the white kids, not black enough for the black kids. Spice things my tongue like the N-word thrown around in front of me, while white kids unknowns the fact that Africa is in me, it's in them, and together we are Africa. My hair is straightened by the Western world, and my skin faded by racism. I lose my identity inside of myself. An endless journey of who I am and why. My reflection in the mirror speaks to me about my homeland. The girl staring back is more than just another light-skinned mixed girl who grew up in a white girl world. I am more than an identity lost in self-ignorance. I may not know what it means to be black, but I sure as hell know what it means to be me. Thank you.
Many times I wanted to change. Many times I sit with the pain and imagine life on a different plane with no wrong. You tried to tell me your life is the same, a different picture, but part of the frame. I listen with sorrow, I hide again, you don't know what it's like to feel lost in your skin, to feel rain while the sun is still shining, what it's like to feel lost in your skin, in your fall. You're falling, and you're falling, and you're falling, and you're falling. There's no reason to feel this shame, no love for my body, and no one to blame. But that's not where we started. Used to be proud, wholehearted, to the judgment started. Now I know what it's like to feel lost in my skin, to feel rain while the sun is still shining. What it's like to feel lost in your skin, and you're falling, when you're falling, when you're falling, when you're falling, when you're wait for the light fall. I can't be the end, but now I've found my skin again.
Oh, I see you, standing over there, away from the fire, the warmth and the care, relatively content with your own peace of mind, in deep conversation with that inner little child. Oh, I see it, what you hide behind your eyes, the years of betrayal, abandonment and denial, the stories that you tell, which will help you fill the void, of how you do not need a helping hand, for that might only jeopardize. The hollowness that is growing, the further you stand apart, is exactly what they touch when you try and play the part. It burns even deeper when rejection naturally arrives. You'll ask yourself why you bothered, why did you even try? So back out to your position, away from the blazing flames. Even though it's cold out there, it definitely is safe. You see, you're more sensitive than they could understand. You see behind the masks and the false pretenses. Your eyes are sharp and your ears are perked high, and the wind carries on at a far distant cry. Oh, I see you, standing over there. Sparks begin to rise from the shadows that you bear. The dawning sun is coming, and others have arrived. They sit with you around the fire. They are of like mind. I sense you are afraid, but open even so, for these ones bring a different energy than the people you left long ago. Yes, they still hold the potential of accessing your sacred place. But fear not, they're not here for that. They carry their own pain. Oh, I see. Now you're dancing around the fire. The hollowness has been filled and there is a glint in your eye. The ones who came to visit move freely in and out, and you are content with the freedom that is welcomed and allowed. Your heart is beaming brightly and laughter overflows. Your sense of safety is moulded from the ashes of your woes. The ones who came and visit, they offered another way, because you lit the fire. You called the dawn of a new day. And now you walk together, each on their own path, creating a bright future that is born from the past. Oh, I see, co-creating in love, respectfully engaging in what arises and dissolves. The winds of change, they do carry the uncertainties of life, but now you have the burning embers of your truth and your tribe. So now I'm going to sing a song that I wrote a few years ago. It's called For the Sun. I can't talk to you or tell you how I feel. I barely know coming from love, what you're all about. And you have to understand we come from the past, and we bring those feelings you never knew you had. Sunrises in the east, it sets slowly in the west, and we come from foreign lands, love. We rise from the ashes. Looks can be deceiving, you see. I thought you were someone else. Then I got to know you, and you're just like the rest. But I'm looking for something new, someone to blow my mind, and I guess I'm too good for you. I'm a special kind, but you have to understand we come from the past, and we bring those feelings we always knew we had. Sunrises in the east, it sets slowly in the west, and we come from foreign lands, love. We rise from the ashes, and you have to understand we come from the past, and we bring those feelings we always knew we had. Sunrises in the east, set slowly in the west, and we come from foreign lands of love. We rise from the ashes. So yeah, thanks very much. Thanks to Anna for organising this. I look forward to seeing the rest of the performers, and yes, I wish you all a very nice afternoon.
Photograph from the 1990s. You look so young, fresh-faced, all smiles. 2 children in your arms, in awe of you, all 4 eyes. Bringer of life, yours to smother. These eyes will always look to you, mother. One with curly brown hair, streaks of autumn running through. The other with copper curls looks nothing like you. Even though they weren't fully cooked, they could have done with another 2 months. One talks and talks, curiosity fills her mind. The other, quieter, a tube strapped to his nose behind. A small hand reaches out. She'll guide him for now, until she has her own life to plough. The years go by, you celebrate his wins. When he stands up, takes 3 steps, falls down again. His hair stands on end, his eyes crossed just a little. A smile stretches from ear to ear, a laugh and then a giggle. Twins, the girl would crawl hands and knees and he would follow. Their own adventures up and down the hall, tackling the stairs, bums used to hoist up the perilous path, cheers and bellows in the aftermath. You watch as they grow older. She goes to college, finds love, fills herself with worldly knowledge. He stays with you, smile still stretched from ear to ear, the simpler life for your son. He stays here. His eyes are the yellow in a sky of grey. You are familiar with every glance, the routine of his every day. He is the silent type. He does not speak. He does not walk, but yet he is not weak. When reunited, the twins chatter like children. To watch them together, heaven. A familiarity that can only be found by sharing the womb. You created them. Now watch them bloom. They rely on you, in each their own way, as children should. You, a safe space, without fear of being misunderstood. For the joy they bring you is matched by none other. Forever you will be their mother.
Hi, my name is Ron McCarthy, and I am delighted to be invited to be part of the Modwords Identity session as part of the Imagine Arts Festival in Waterford 2020. On the theme of identity, I have chosen 4 poems, and the first poem is called Rahab. It's named after a biblical prostitute, so I guess it's about sex, and there's a lot to be said about prostitution in Ireland today, isn't there? My second poem is about, it's called Imbibed. There was a lot I didn't know about Waterford slang before I moved to Waterford, and I learned a lot of it via a good friend of mine, Brita Chester. So Imbibed is a poem where I use a lot of the Waterford words that I love the sound of. And also Imbibed is about alcohol, and it's commentary on alcohol and our relationships with alcohol. And my third poem is called Mukambula 2004. It's about Australia. I lived in Australia for a year, and it's just a reflection on that. And then my next poem is a short poem. It's in Irish, and it's called Arnon, and I wrote this for a project that the wonderful Margaret O'Brien was doing on Carrigan Shore, called In Our Bríhe Go Joe, remembering the people that we lost to COVID. And Arnon is a poem that is about the void that exists when you lose somebody, the void between being with them and not being with them, and how that cannot ever be filled. And in the poem I address that, and I also go to say that may be, but the windows and doors are open in my house, and I'm here for you if you want to visit me in whatever form. So it's a vigil poem. It's a vigil, I know. And then my last poem, I wrote it for my beautiful Auntie Anne, who had Down syndrome, fabulous woman and inspiration, and she passed away a few years ago. And during the early lockdown, I had a visitation from her, so that's what that's about. So I'll start. Rahab. Rahab. Miss of little sunshine, miss of the bright lights, hussy on heels, good time girl, night after night, spoon after spoon, blue uniforms, shirt, ties, your white collar on the floor, car cleaner, window washer, Bible basher, her door is open, your money is as good as the rest. And the next poem I'm going to read is Imbibed. I didn't know what a Bible was until I came to Waterford, but I do now. Can't say I've met many of them now, to be fair. Bible. So, Imbibed. I am the ghost of her Waterford breathing, the long weekend stretched out ahead of her, the year of her hand raiding the diddly to down and drinks laid out on the high stool, her heels on the floor, from the standing to a wobbling to a gallybandering to a haboo to ketchup ooze breakfast blah. I am her Sunday best face at the back of Mass, the unanswered texts at the bottom of her bag, the queue of voicemails she can't play in the crowded beer garden. I am her shade. The next poem I'm going to read is called Mukambula 2004. Mukambula 2004. And Mukabula is the Aboriginal name for the River Mary and the basin area of the River Mary. Reaching into a persimmon tree, Laura screams, "Snake!" We search the burnt grass and vines, green where the water sprinklers hit. This picking line that seems the same as the rest, until a head moves, a tongue flicks, and a pupil, oblong with darts at the end, tilts into the sun. We stare back. Think of the eye and its view. Dusty boots and dirty laces, freckled legs smeared with Factor 50, shorts, buckets fulls of figs. A break and back to picking until noon when the work is done. A ride home and a ute and a barbecue. Settling into the deck chairs, the Aussies among us are more friendly now. The timber deck shades us from the sun. The eskies are cold and packed with beer. It is hot and gimpy, no different this summer to the last. Save the Mary, the placards read. The river is drying up. I have seen a cow dead on the riverbed, ribs jushing through skin. The Queensland summer is a hot and thirsty place. And Arnon, Vigil. Arnon. Ní féidir le éimní an oscailt a líne, idir roit agus iad dhéag, idir leat agus lomhain, idir ór mórthúil léthúil, the love clay taobhlam chamáin, an fáine á túil sínt amach rowing le bheith línta le a cá is cadróil. Agus, má fér bóg ratha leagathe bun an cófra, cliban in a marílacha ag maragú le tos na móthra. Níl focail nach chuoin chuí. Ach, tá na cartínis finógar oscailt idir ihe agus lá, is an so fan im ar the heacht. And my final poem is called Anne. Anne. Weeks into the lockdown, when my pace finally slows, I see her, cross-legged at my feet, thumbing pieces of a jigsaw. I am mid-heartbeat. She looks up, and heat flows to the top of my scalp, rushes down my neck, swoops down my spine, bear hugs my arms. For months, my conscious mind pecks the carrion of her presence. No matter how bare the bones, and the softest air on skin.
The River Shore. To my knowledge, 4 counties share the River Shore. Tipperary, Waterford, Kilkenny and Wexford. There's a beautiful spot. Anyone who is familiar with Giles Quay already knows this spot, you just might not know the name of it. My mother's generation would have known it as the Pill Road, but we as young lads, we used to always call it the Palins. And the Palins is a little 60 or 70 yard stretch of road which runs parallel with the railway and the river, and then you go off around the bend towards the Butler Twins and the mill. So the Palins is there, and if you park your car there, you're guaranteed nothing but pure pleasure. So this is a song called I'll Meet You by the Palins. Strolled one morning by the railway line. The dawn chorus sun began to shine. And at every bridge I cross I'll pause a while and take this marvel in, and take this marvel in. On every side, on front and back, the living treasure, the railway track, the dancing barley with the slightest breeze, an ebbing tide returns again. The tide will return again. And then the broken lighthouse with its purpose spent is still clinging on regardless. The castle on the island through the broken fog, I said I'd meet you by the palings. 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 The reeds, they made us sound like heaven's breath, with sandpipers in the morning. And every step I take I won't regret. You smile, a new day was dawning. A new day was dawning. A man could lose himself in such a place if his mind were to let him. You turn a corner and gone without a trace, but your tracks are never ending. The tracks are never ending. Broken lighthouse with its purpose spent, still clinging on regardless. The castle on the island through the broken fog, I said I'd meet you by the palings. I said I'd meet you by the palings. Said I'd meet you by the palings. I said I'd meet you by the palings. Thanks very much, folks.
I grew up in Johns Park in number 227, 6 of us and our parents. And at that time in Johns Park in the early 70s, it was absolutely chock-a-block with children. Hundreds, maybe thousands, roaming around, having the crack on the streets. And I think there was so much love in the air in Johns Park that when the women went walking to the shop or down to mass or across to Father Pat's playground, they could actually get pregnant by just walking through that high concentrate of love that was in the air. And that's why there's such a big population there for that at that time. Isn't that unbelievable? Anyway, this song I want to dedicate to my brothers and sisters and to my cousins, the Roaches, who lived down the road from us. Summer evening, 20 children playing kick the can. Count to 50 if you're able, and catch me if you can. 1, 2, 3, I spy Mary behind Cudahy's wall. Wrong call, I'm under Powers Gristlinia. You silly ninny, that wasn't me at all. Playing jumps out in the big backs, all pegs and canes. Just 2 legs for the horse and rider, and hold on tight to the reins. 1, 2, 3, he clears the treble, he's going for a clear round. Oh no, it's a refusal, 3/4 a refusal, and then he knocks it down. Number 227, early 70s, 8, 9, 10 and 11, the time and place to be. Number 227, SJP, 8, 9, 10 and 11, life is heavenly. Sleeping over down in Roaches, number 339, watching birds with cousin Patsy, the feathered kind. 1, 2, 3, all together, jumping on the bed. Pillow fight, you burst the bolster, the feathers flying, we're such a featherhead. And Jackie's for the luncheon, and Welch's for the coal, and running through the arches, and the boys are throwing stones, and the school around the corner, and the trolleys on the hill, and the milk is on the doorstep, bread on the windowsill. And Mary's making daisy chains, Noreen singing songs, and Sheila's turning cartwheels all day long. And Michael does 100 keepy-uppies in the hall. And Patrick's in his high chair, enchanting us all. And Mammy's making marmalade if she gets the chance. And Daddy's cutting cutlasses for the pirates of Penzance. And it's porridge in the morning and sugar on your bread. And me, my nose is pumping after jumping off the shed. Number 227, early 70s,
10, and 11. The time and place to be. Number 227. SJP. 8, 9, 10, and 11. Life is heavenly. Ain't that the way it's supposed to be? Thank you, folks. I hope you like that.
I am the carrier, the old woman of winter. Do not turn your face away from me, mortal. See your fear of me in my cold winter night. See your fear of the deaths of the year and the white frost on your field. See your fear of the dying sun and the approaching storms. So, look into my eyes, mortal, and watch me dance. Don't give up, mortal. Paint your faces with the bright colours of the fallen leaves. Look into my eyes, mortal. You want to.
I love the idea of people doing the work through different ages and stages and that whole sense of identity, something that I've struggled with for many years, but now in my 60s that I've made peace with. And here's a poem that I've written about that. These days, when I ask, who did you say that I am? It is my own voice that answers back. It was not always so. For once others sought to speak for me and tell me what to think and who to be. Long years in classrooms as nuns' brutal efforts tried to shape me to their bidding. But I resisted the slaps of wooden canes and fought desperately to hold on to my own spirit. Life, too, caught me many times off guard, and the human in me felt crushed beneath another's words of the rights and wrongs of living. But this I resisted too, willing to pay the price, which I often did. But after I sipped the sweet nectar of freedom. My journey back to my own identity has weaved its way on many rough and winding roads. Questions without answers, beating hard on my face in the early morning rain that hid my tears. All for the best, an old man said, as we sat soaked to the skin on an old bench in Hyde Park, as the busy hum of London's mad rush to escape reality carried on outside the gates. At 21, a beautiful £6, 9 ounces of pure joy, which had grown for 9 months within me, brought me to a deeper place within myself, and somehow pushed back the old debris to uncover the human flesh and bone and skin in me and put the pieces of me back together with love. Through decades on, I speak from the margins and call out the pain and the shame, speaking for the forgotten people of life's struggle, which tries to mould them into the world's notion of acceptability. These days, my identity is back home where it belongs, nestled safe and warm under the beating rhythm of my heart's purpose. I cry for the ones who chased the dreams they were taught to believe was theirs to find. I see their look of lost hope replaced now by fear, and I stop to share my moments with them in the familiarity of life's shadows. We are human to the core, and our longing is to find our own voice at the end of the day and our own face smiling back at us from the beautiful, unrepeatable uniqueness of our own identity. Thank you so much.
Some time ago, when Anna asked us to write for this event, a thought on this troubled theme occurred to me, and I wrote the first line of what would become the only verse, the shortest poem, to subsequently enter my meagre repertoire of poetry. After a few hundred keyboard scribbles, this is the total sum. I wonder, would my mother recognize me now? She hasn't seen me in more than half a century. Not since I was 8 3/4 years old. I wonder, would I recognize her if somehow she came back to life? All I have is archived memory from when I was 8 3/4 years old. And that's it. Now, while working to expand that verse for several weeks, and for Anna, just to please her, a song title from the 70s resembled closely the first line, and so I changed course. To learn that song was going to be easier, and it had something to do with identity. Well, mostly. If Ma could see me now, drinking my beer, smoking my cigarettes. If Ma could see me now, what in the world would she say? Where is the boy who played with the toys he took from the girl next door? And where is the lad who calls to his dad to tell him the county score? If Ma could see me now, would she accept all of the change in me? If Ma could see me now, what in the world would she say? Where is the kid who banged on the lid to scare off the Sisters' Day, and licked up her eyes when he won a prize down at the local fete? If Ma could see me now, could I begin explaining my present state, living in sin and staying up much too late? Would she be pleased if she could see me now?
Hi, I'm Stan Phillips, and I'm delighted to have been asked by Anna to take part in this particular function, the Waterford Writers' Weekend. And identity she was talking about, and taking somebody from each generation, each of the decades of life. And as I'm at the other end of this whole issue, being now sort of, 82, I'm writing about age and the poetry of age. And they asked the old man to tell them of his poetry. And he smiled as he thought, and smiled again as he replied. My poetry, he said, is the words that tell of this smile to those who will never see it. My poetry is the fear in the heart of the young child that once I was, walking the cobbled streets of the city on a sun-bedazzled day, to see the sky suddenly filled with 100 planes bearing their cargo of death to rain down on that lost and terror-stricken town. And that made my poetry. My poetry is the loneliness of that same lost child sent to safety in the heart of the bucolic, peaceful surroundings of an unknown countryside with strangers who could never understand his lonely silences, and watch the corn ripen and the apples grow and the chickens hatch. And that became my poetry. My poetry was born in the coffee houses of Soho in the 50s and 60s and throbs to the new and strange music. It is adolescent yearning for love, for kisses, for whispered words lost on the breezes of the star-studded night, sweet lips, insincere promises, regret, and that became my poetry. My poetry grows from the griefs and glories of life and tells of tears and laughter, of pain, of the beating heart of a songbird held briefly in the hand before it flew off into an unforgiving sky. It is random words plucked from the passing clouds and ordered into something almost explicable. It is memory. It is hope. It is friendship lost and found, and tells of the despair of being human in strange times. And it tells of the inevitability of death that grows ever closer, with a feeling that the best of my poetry will never be created. But of course it will. And that's my poetry. Well, a tiny part of it anyway. Thank you very much.